while your day is winding down. They're just getting started. This is South Coast Tonight with Chris McCarthy and Marcus Farrow. They've got you covered on all the news of the day, from local issues to politics on both sides of the aisle. This is the place where the movers and shakers come to be heard, to listen, and where they're held accountable. This is South Coast Tonight on WBSM.
Good evening. Welcome to South Coast Tonight. I'm Marcus Farrow.
I'm Chris McCarthy.
And we're joined now by Lieutenant Evan Bielski of the New Bedford Police Union, the president of the New Bedford Police Union. Hey, Lieutenant, how are you?
Good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great. Thanks, Evan.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
So, Evan, you guys have a posting up today on Facebook from the union. Explain what's going on. What is happening with you and the administration, the union and the administration?
Well, like the posting says, we've been trying to, just get facts out there and keep everyone up to date on happenings in the city and happenings with the police department and stuff. And we were given, we were cautioned about, hey, on releasing information about, incidents that are happening, you need to be careful with that. We do have policies in place, and, there is, public record laws and all that. It was basically what it says. We were cautioned about when we should release information, and I know that our department, releases the call logs. I believe it gets posted to the website, but that's something that doesn't happen every day. So over the weekends, what you're seeing is, from us now is a delay in reporting some stuff because of that, because we were kind of cautioned on it hasn't been released by the department yet, so you really shouldn't be doing it.
So, Evan, explain to the listeners what your thought process is. You're a lieutenant in the police department. This is your business. You guys obviously have some sort of a filter. You decide information. Explain to us your thought process when you do or don't post something. What goes into it?
So we're not going to, there's obviously laws against what we can post. So we're not posting anything, releasing anyone's names, the juveniles, anything with domestic violence related, sex crime related. We're not releasing any of that stuff. Our thought process is we're just trying to release the crime that affects the citizens, that's happening in neighborhoods, that happens in our city. We're not trying to hide anything. This is stuff that people should know is going on. It also can benefit us, too, when we do release this stuff, because, maybe citizens can be a little more vigilant out there, and they might pass on information to us that could help us in one of these investigations. And we're keeping the post very simple, too, for, a number of reasons. But the main reason is we're also not trying to jeopardize any investigations. So we're just releasing very minimal information about, this incident happened in this location, and that's basically it. We're not releasing names or descriptions of cars or anything like that.
Your members have a tremendous interest in solving these crimes. You're not putting anything out there that jeopardizes that. That's my understanding, right?
Yes, we definitely do. Yep.
All right. So I have a question though. You guys want to report crime and keep the public informed, but what is the administration's position on this? Because isn't there sort of an obligation to not induce panic by saying, okay, well, these things are happening and maybe it might cause some undue concern about the level of crime that's happening in New Bedford and people may overreact. What's your thoughts on that?
That could happen. That's a possibility that could happen from this. But again, we're just trying to be transparent with everyone out there. People need to know that this is what we deal with on the street, and especially nowadays where we're running short offices and now dispatches and stuff like that. There's a concern that this affects the level of safety for citizens and us also. So we're just, we're not trying to, put a negative light on the city. We're trying to bring a positive light. We do a lot of positive things as a police department. Everything we do is positive, So I just think it's that, like, there's no need to try to hide it or not report it. It happens. So I don't know what's the big deal in just getting it out. And I think it's, like I said, I think we can use it in a way to benefit us. We've seen other police departments where they post like, hey, can anyone identify this person? They stole this from whatever a store and stuff like that. Social media can be used in a way to benefit us with crime.
Dartmouth has done it to some acclaim. Dartmouth does a lot of stuff with their social media. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Evan, you have a lot of crimes here that were posted the other day. Stabbing on April 14th, an armed robbery April 14th, shots fired April 14th. I don't know what was going on April 14th, but there was a lot going on. You had a shooting on April 18th. You had a stabbing on April 18th. Are you sensing from your years in the department an uptick in crime? We had a caller say that she seems to believe that she's hearing reports, that's her feeling, that there's more juveniles involved in crimes. We had a 13-year-old shot the other day. It's on WBSM.com. Can you talk a little bit about that? Is that a perception or is that reality, that more juveniles are involved in violent gun-related crimes?
It's tough to say. I would have to look at, data going back, years to really see that, or to be able to, give you a definite answer on that. Yes, to some extent for me, I think if you were to ask, all the police officers, it does seem like you will see younger juveniles involved in some more serious crimes than, I think I first saw when I first got on this job. And I think it's, for me, my perception has not really changed. So I've been on for 19 years, and, I said this at the city council meeting when I went there. For me, I've been dealing with the same type of crime for 19 years. Drug offenses, gun offenses, armed robberies, stabbings. Like, this is stuff that we've been dealing with on a daily basis. Does it happen on a daily basis? No, we don't have shootings on every single day, but it's stuff that we deal with. And so it's tough for me to really gauge on, like, yes, we're having, a ton of more shootings right now than compared to, last year or 5 years ago, because for me, everything kind of is the same. I think that's our perception as police, because we're out on the streets really dealing with it. And I'm not in the weeds of like all the data and looking up that. So I can't really give you an answer in regards to that on that side of the data,
Well, I appreciate your honesty.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
Yeah, so you mentioned the dispatchers, and I tease the audience on that a little bit because we're hearing that regionally, there's a loss for dispatch. We have that issue here in Fairhaven as well. Explain what's going on with the lack of dispatchers, the overtimes. What's going on in the city of New Bedford, if you can, Lieutenant Bielski?
I can talk a little bit about. So obviously, our dispatchers are in a separate union, but they're a crucial part to what we do. But they're basically in the, they're going through the same thing that we're going through. We're losing good dispatches to other departments because of, pay, better work environments, less stressful work. The same, like I said, the same thing that why we're losing police officers to other departments.
So, Evan, one of the other issues you're dealing with is staffing shortages, and is this I know you have an your position is you have an obligation to be transparent, but is this also sort of a call for the city to do something in terms of beefing up the staffing, the number of officers that they have at the New Bedford Police Department? Because we do know, you talked about it last time, there's someone with 17 years experience, detective experience, that went to Lakeville. I know Fairhaven, I think, got a New Bedford Police Department police officer recently. So is this also sort of a call to beef up the staffing at the New Bedford Police Department?
Yes, it is. We are down. I believe we're hovering around 206 right now, and we're budgeted for 259. So we're down 53 officers. That's a lot. It's affecting us on the street. It's affecting citizens in what is getting done. You need to think about it. Being down that many officers, we have other specialized divisions that are down officers now. It's not just the patrol officers on the street. So detectives, back in the day, I would say about, I'd say maybe 4 or 5 years ago, it's probably up to about 12 detectives for like major crimes and property crimes. They're down to 6 right now. So you have to understand that, 5 years ago, with 12 detectives in there, you could investigate more crimes.
Right.
Now you're down to 6. You're basically, how many crimes can you investigate with 6 guys? Like what's the workload that you can really throw on them? So that's not just detectives. There's other divisions that are in the same boat. So that's what you need to think about when, that's why we need to beef up our numbers, to be able to staff all these assignments that we have in, not stress out and burn out offices. It's just, that's what's going on right now, and it needs to be done. It's going to be a lot of work to get us back up there, I think, but we need to start somewhere.
So we're speaking with New Bedford Police Union President Lieutenant Evan Bielski. So, Lieutenant, was there? You might have said this before, but was there a specific reason cited as to why they told you not to report on these or let the public know about these specific crimes?
No, they didn't give a specific reason. They just kind of threw a little caution out there, saying, hey, be careful, and understandably that's fine. Like, we're not trying to violate any policies of the department or anything or laws. They just said, hey, a little caution. I think it was more geared towards over the weekend stuff that might not be getting released by a department on time because it's the weekend, it's a Saturday, and whoever's doing it's not working, or you're running across a Monday holiday and they're not in. I think the caution was kind of thrown a little at that. So we're, just throwing it out there that, we have to kind of wait on when the department releases something for us to then, be able to put it out there.
Lieutenant, you talked about a couple of things. Number one, that your police department your members do a lot of good things. One of the things I've been following one of your cases, and I don't know what you can speak to. I don't know if it's specifically you were involved in it or not, but your members were. Goes back to Thanksgiving a couple years ago. You had a murder in the city. Guy from Mattapoisett literally walked over, shot a guy working on his car, shot another guy, then turned and fired at some of your fellow officers who were trying to apprehend him. The police, through their discipline and training, did not fire back and kill the young man, relatively young man from Mattapoisett, who is allegedly have committed murder and fired at the police officers. We haven't heard anything about that case. There's so many of these cases that just disappear into the court system. Maybe that's just the way it is. I mean, from 19 years of working, but it seems like it takes a long time for these cases to come about. And the good work that your members do often goes unrecognized, except maybe by this radio station. Yes,
I mean, you're correct with that. I think news does get somewhat forgotten about somewhat quickly sometimes, and the court system too. To speak on that is can be a little slow sometimes with all the the procedures you have to go through at court, and COVID kind of threw the courts for a loop for a little bit there too. So I think they're trying to catch up, and they've been a little behind on some stuff.
So we're speaking with New Bedford Police Union President Evan Bielski. Lieutenant, I don't know if we got a chance to talk about the juvenile case in any length. Are you able to give any more details than we have at WBSM.com? Right now, it's just it's being investigated. We don't know a lot. Is there anything you can divulge publicly about it?
No, I can't. Unfortunately, it's just what you've seen there. When it happened in the area that it happened in, the juvenile was obviously taken to the hospital there, and he's in stable condition. That's all I can really report on that.
So, just as a general question, because there's always, we were talking about it earlier, there's always a sort of a tension between, and this exists, and I think in any police department, any town, anywhere, is there's always a tension between sort of the journalism, the media community, and the police departments, and sort of getting information, because there's always it's an ongoing investigation. Sometimes journalists feel that that's a cop-out to try to divulge as little as possible, but there is also concerns that you may give out too much of an investigation. What are generally details that have to be concealed, and what details can usually be made public? Do you have any idea?
I mean, details that need to be that shouldn't get out there, that shouldn't be divulged, is stuff that when we want to question a suspect in the case, like, we want to make sure that this is it's something that the media, not the media, it's something that the public wouldn't know. So when we're getting information from either a suspect or someone who witnessed the crime or something like that, like, we can say, like, oh yes, they're telling the truth, because how do they know this happened? If they have to have been there to know this happened. We didn't release this information to the media, so there's no way they would know it. So that's one big reason, and there's other reasons too, because some investigations get solved very quickly. So we don't want to throw everything out there and maybe lead on to a suspect that we know they're involved, because for safety concerns for us and being able to maybe apprehend them quickly. So there's a variety of things that do go into, like, what should be kind of released and what shouldn't.
We've been speaking with Lieutenant Evan Bielski of the New Bedford Police Department. He's the president of the union. What other concerns do you have right now in terms of staffing, things of this nature, or suggestions maybe that you folks are putting forward to the administration, if you want to make them public, to the public, to maybe build some support for them? What do you think can be done, within reason, obviously, to increase the staffing or recruiting level of your fellow officers? And the retention too, Evan.
I mean, honestly, like that, like, a majority of that, like, really affects the retention and the hiring is through our contract,
Okay.
and that's something that we're in the middle of negotiating, and so that's where a majority of that comes from, and that's the same thing with the dispatches also now, that they're dealing with the same thing, and it's mainly through a contract thing. Pay is obviously a big thing, but things have changed over years now. We went through COVID, we went through some tough times and stuff, and it's not 15 years ago. There's a lot that's changed, so it's kind of like things have kind of caught up with the city, I believe, and they probably somewhat should have seen some of this coming, but it's just that we've gotten so far behind, like, other departments and other professions in maybe pay and benefits and all that now we're trying to do that catch up, and it's really tough, especially with what we're competing with. Like, it's tough to compete with, say, a Fairhaven, because Fairhaven is, they might, even if they're getting paid equal to us, or I'm not sure what their numbers are right now, but I think they're still ahead of us. You're dealing with Fairhaven. There's less crime over there. You're dealing with less calls for service, so it's just less stress on you.
Better restaurants.
They might not be getting forced. You know what I mean? They have the manpower. It's tough to battle against that and try to attract people here in the hole that we're in right now.
Look, we have Lieutenant Cobbs that you guys will never get him, so he's a big draw. There's no doubt about it. Evan, there was recently an article in one of our competing media groups here about the amount of money police officers were making that didn't really explain detail pay versus what the taxpayers really pay. Maybe you can explain that to our listeners. I mean, people are always counting other people's money, but there's a real difference between what the taxpayers pay a police officer and what private companies pay through details. If you could help out with that.
Yeah, so in regards to details, you're exactly right. That's a private company paying that rate. That's not tax money that's paying it. So when you see somebody working for, I'm trying to think some of the names, Eversource or Feeney Brothers out there, those are the companies that are paying for that officer to be there. And then then you see the pay, that you see got top 50 what people in the city, and a lot of them are police officers up there and stuff like that. You need to understand that those guys that you see on top of that, those guys and girls that you see on top of that list are not working 40 hours a week.
Right.
That's working 2 jobs. And I mean, those top guys, I would say, are working consistently 70 to 80 hours a week. They're putting in a lot of time, and that's it. That's their choice, and that's fine. But, not everyone wants to work 70, 80 hours a week.
Nobody does.
To make decent money.
Right.
There's a lot of people, and we're dealing with different generations too. That's affected us also, where the younger generation now, they don't want to work 60, 70, 80 hours a week. They want to work 40 hours a week. They want their vacation time. They like their time off. That's been proven by Gen Z and stuff like that. They like their time off and stuff. And for that, 40 hours to make starting off $22 an hour and deal with the stuff that we deal with in the city of New Bedford, you can go anywhere else and make that money and be less stressed and much safer.
And not have to take a bullet, potentially. I mean, I hate to say it that way, but that is the truth. $22 an hour to carry a gun and take a bullet. I mean, you only get that in the Marines. Really, it's pretty damn bad.
Yes.
So, Lieutenant Bielski, we appreciate your time and your availability on this. Is there anything else that we may have forgot to mention that you think is important to mention?
No, I would just like to just maybe mention really quickly the dispatches again. We're seeing a lot with that now. They've kind of been taking a toll, and they do a great job for us. We have some great dispatches, and we've lost a lot of great dispatches because of this. And what they're going through right now is not good. So please bear with them. They have a very difficult job. They're the lifeline for the citizens in New Bedford, and they're the lifeline for us also on the streets. And to be understaffed in there right now is putting a big toll and a lot of pressure on them. So I'd just like to thank them for what they're doing, and hopefully things will get fixed around here.
If someone wants to become a dispatcher, how do they apply?
You can apply through the City of New Bedford. I believe you can go right on the website.
Okay.
If not, I would go right down to the City Hall and grab an application and get started. We're definitely hiring.
Lieutenant Bielski, we appreciate your time today. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much, Evan. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Be safe out there.
That was Lieutenant Evan Bielski, President of the New Bedford Police Union. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. This is South Coast Tonight. Welcome back to South Coast Tonight. I'm Marcus Farrow.
And I'm Chris McCarthy.
We got some calls online. Let's get to them. Good evening. You're live.
Hi, listen, I don't appreciate a girl calling me a windbag.
You got to ignore it. You should see the things they say about us.
Yeah, it's really bad.
You got to ignore them.
It's
Don't worry
worse
about
than
it,
that.
Sean.
Yeah, it's
really.
worse than that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'd like to speak to you off air if I could.
Okay, hon.
Sounds good.
How does I do it?
Email. Yeah.
No, I can't. Marcus.
Do we have a number there for her?
I don't know.
I'll give her a call off there. Shawnee, I'll give you a call off the air if we have your number here.
We got your number
I'm
here.
a windbag.
No, you're not a windbag.
We got your number, so
I'll give you a call off the air, Shawnee.
Yeah, call me back.
All right,
Thank you.
hon. Bye-bye.
So 508-996-0500 is how you can get on the program. So, just to be clear, we did reach out to the administration, the New Bedford Police Department before this, and I know Tim's working on the story, so we'll get their side of it too. Again, I've had conversations with Chief Oliveira. I like Chief Oliveira. Actually, I want to just take a moment to say. Tuesday, actually, he's bringing the autism car to Fall River, their autism awareness patrol car to Fall River, at a nonprofit that we, me and my mother had founded, and it's. I'm going to take some pictures. Maybe we can get it on WBSM.com. But I think he's a good guy, and I think it's a difficult situation that the administration's in as well. But I understand the arguments here on both sides.
So the chief is a good leader. I hear from guys in his department all the time. Mm-hmm. He's got a storied career. He's there. He's the leader for a reason. And we saw the other night. When Semlek came in, right, and they had the dispute that ended with relatively little violence. That's because the chief got them involved in Semlek.
Southeastern Massachusetts Law Enforcement Council, something like that.
Very good. So the fact of the matter is that the New Bedford Police Department is a well-oiled machine. They are shedding some members. They're trying to retain them. They're trying to do something. We've seen this across the country. They're trying to do it here. They're losing members to, Evan made a good case. They're losing to Fairhaven. They're losing to Dartmouth. They're losing to Lakeville. Other departments are making their environment more attractive.
Sure.
I mean, look, being a New Bedford police officer is a tough job.
Absolutely.
It is a tough job. And you, as the residents of the city and as the elected officials, have to recognize that it is a tough job, and therefore you got to do more to recruit them.
Yeah.
And, I almost sensed, Evan, the hesitancy in his voice when he brought up money. And I wish he wouldn't hesitate, but I understand. Because the fact of the matter is money is important. Money is time. Money is freedom.
Yeah.
And people should not be bashful about demanding it.
Absolutely.
All right? That's one of the problems with the American working man.
Yeah.
Is that they don't demand enough money. They don't demand enough respect for their time. And the fact of the matter is that the base pay of the New Bedford Police Department is atrocious. The fact that people, long ago, I've been discussing this. I learned it when I was a selectman in Freetown, which is certainly an entirely different atmosphere than New Bedford. But long ago, I figured out that the only way you can afford a police department is by making private details available.
Yeah.
And and no one else in the private sector works 70 hours a week to get a real paycheck.
Yeah, right.
Nobody has
Exactly.
to do that.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's true.
The idea that you put on a gun and a badge and go deal with stopping child molesters and every other creep that's out there for $22 an hour.
Yeah.
Marcus, that's crazy.
Yeah, I agree.
That's what a kid in the produce department makes at Stop and Shop.
Well,
Something like that.
Maybe, yeah. I worked in the produce department at Stop. It was about 15 years ago, though. I didn't make that. Yeah.
Right? But you also, my point being is that $22 an hour is not a lot of money. Now, they don't really do it for the money. You don't become a police officer for the money. Otherwise, you'd quit your first day.
Yeah, right.
Right? It's like, I learned this when I went in the service. The guys who were there for the free college, they don't make it through basic training. Mm-hmm. Because if you're not there because you're a patriot and you want the adventure of it and all that stuff, the money's not worth it. You're not there for the money. You're not there for that. You're there for the other stuff that's... But at some point, you do have to make a car payment. You want to buy a house.
Yeah, 508-996-0500. We'll also take your messages on the WBSM app chat. So I think what we'll do is we'll take a quick break and then we'll be back. This is South Coast Tonight. I'm Marcus Farrow. He's Chris McCarthy.
New Bedford's News Talk Station, 1420 WBSM.
This time next week, I'll be sick in bed with West Nile virus, thanks to a mosquito bite right in front of my house.
In 8 minutes, my daughter will be in an ambulance, having an asthma attack, triggered by cockroaches.
I'm going to be bitten by a tick today. I won't even know it until Lyme disease turns my life upside down.
Learn how to protect your family at pestworld.org. A public service message from the National Pest Management Association and the CDC.
Hello, I'm Jose Hernandez, and I have been using a wheelchair since my accident in 1995.
My name is Andrea Dalzell, and I've been using a wheelchair since I was 5 years old.
I guess if I had one message for the general public, it would be that I appreciate your help. But please, ask first.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that I've actually got everything under control.
I think people get nervous. They don't know how to act, so they pretend I'm not there.
What probably bothers me the most is when waiters talk to my companion and not directly to me.
I think everyone with a disability can relate to that parking spot problem.
We know you're just parking in that disabled spot for a second, but please, don't. We're just looking for the same respect and consideration as everyone else.
United Spinal Association is dedicated to enhancing the quality of life of people living with spinal cord injuries and disorders. Download our disability etiquette booklet at unitedspinal.org.
You've spent all day hearing about the news. Now's your chance to react to it.
Pick up your phone and call the professionals.
Call Chris and Marcus now at 508-996-0500 or send a text via app chat on the WBSM app. Now, back to South Coast Tonight.
Welcome back to South Coast Tonight. We've got a call in the air. Let's get to it. Good evening.
Okay, guys, this is the way it is. Shawnee got to call the show tonight 3 times, plus asking for a call offline. And you guys are sucking up to this like a bunch of pansies over there. He called Tim Weinsberg last week, and she had the nerve to complain about me. She don't know me, and I didn't reply to that when she talked about me, but I had enough now. who does she think she is, calling 3 or 4 times and demanding a call off the air and all? Why do you guys put up with that crap? I demand the same special. I want to call offline.
I'll call you.
Call 3 times.
I'll call you off the air.
We'll put you on the off-air call list. Yeah.
I have no problem calling you off the air.
You're a bunch of pansies over there.
All right.
You wouldn't say it to my face.
Thank you for
Actually, you would.
Thank you for the call. We appreciate it. 508-996-0500 if you want to get on with the Pansy Brothers, Chris and Marcus, the Pansies.
We actually got to get a T-shirt like that.
The Pansy Brothers.
The Pansy Brothers.
That's the new name of the show. The Pansy Brothers.
You know, by the way, I'll be hearing more about that at breakfast. Later on, friends of mine will be calling me a pansy.
Yeah.
You're really ruining my reputation.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm ruining it. I don't know.
You are by being a pansy.
I am a pansy.
Yeah.
It's true. I'm guilty of charge. I'll call him off the air. I don't mind.
Maybe what we should do is
we have Sean coming up, right?
Sean Oliver is calling it. But maybe what we should do is have an hour of airtime in which callers can call in to each other and sort of just sort of let it fly.
There was a Rhode Island radio host that used to do that. He would have one person on the line.
Yeah.
He would match him up with someone who had a competing point of view.
That's a good
idea.
idea.
And they would battle it out.
That's a good idea.
Could we do that?
That will be the new show. Actually, yeah. We're going to do that instead of South Coast Tonight. At 7 to 10, you can just yell at the callers.
You know, that's not bad.
508-996-0500. Let's go to the phones. Good evening.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Good evening, gentlemen.
How you doing?
Good. I'm doing fine. I'm going to go out of my way to try to add something constructive to the conversation.
We appreciate that.
Yes. Or just you can insult us. We don't really mind. As long as it's funny, we don't mind.
Marcus, I probably disagree with you 90% of the time, but I respect you 110% of the time.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And Chris, I miss you. I think what happens, Chris, because you're not on every night, is I think I appreciate you more the night you're on. I guess what I'm trying to say.
Thank you.
So I know not hearing you every night, it just makes me appreciate you more.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Yeah. So the reason I'm even calling in, I had no intention of calling in, but I feel like, it's just not beating up on Shawneen. I heard the conversation earlier. I had no intention of calling in tonight, but I'm like, I tried my best to bring something constructive to the program. Yeah, I kind of feel like if I can't bring something to the table, I don't even want to call in. Because there might be 10 callers behind me that want to get on.
Right.
I get that. Now, I'm not trying to beat up on the lady. I hear her many times. I don't shut her off when she's on. I listen to her. Quite the opposite. I actually listen to her. One of the callers that used to be, he was like, I don't know, maybe the BSM Caller Hall of Fame. Honestly, I didn't like him at all, but I miss him.
Right.
Chuck.
Oh, Chuck was the best.
Chuck, man. Yeah. Chuck was great.
I miss Chuck
as well.
I can hear his voice in my head.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Because I kind of miss it. I really do. I miss it.
He was an agent provocateur. He really was.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was great.
He got you thinking.
Exactly. So I guess the only point I'm trying to make is, you made a point earlier that the callers have no, I forget exactly how you said it, we have no guarantee of airtime. I totally agree with that,
right.
So
I mean, it's a caller-driven format, so we always try to get as many calls in, but I can't give everybody, as far as me like timing the calls out, giving everybody equal airtime and all that other stuff.
Look,
it's just not something it's manageable for us.
We're all unique. We've all got our own ups and downs, whatever. Yeah. We try to all blend it together as best we can and put a presentation together and enjoy each other. And sometimes we enjoy each other for the wrong reasons, quite frankly. Right?
You guys have the patience of Job. I really appreciate it. I respect it.
I like
Marcus, in your early days, I can remember when you were on 1 to 4 on Saturdays, I listened to you a couple of times and said, I don't see me listening to this guy anymore. And yet, here I am the following week listening to you. So
I appreciate that.
Reasonable people can disagree.
I agree.
Completely.
And I just wanted to add that, guys, tonight.
We appreciate that. Thank you very much for the call. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And in the kind words, too. I appreciate that as well. 508-996-0500.
And he's a real Republican.
Good
He's been
evening.
toiling in the fields for 40 years of the Republican Party.
One Adam 12, see the man running down the street. Hello.
One Adam 12. Beautiful.
Classic. I just seen one on...
We forgot to ask Lieutenant what his favorite TV show was.
Evan Bielski, if you're still out there listening, text me your favorite TV show. I'll read it over the air. Better be a cop show.
Mine was the Twilight Zone for the old school days.
Great show.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that's a timeless show. What am I calling? So, yeah, I don't know if I should mention his name or not. A certain host out here during the day seems to still be a Trumpster. Every time you bring him up, he changes the subject. But we'll hear Biden this, Biden that, Biden. But
well, everybody's got their own style and opinions. That's how we format the network.
When you're not letting somebody speak their opinion, whether you agree with it or not, that's not.
Well, one of the things we try not to do here is criticize other hosts, because just call them directly, and let them get at it. One thing I think we're going to be looking for, we're going to see this year, we're going to have a very unpopular Democrat with a relatively unpopular Republican. I mean, sectogenarians really running head to head. It's going to be, I don't know what we're going to have to look forward to here with these primaries.
It's going to be a Twilight Zone episode.
It very well may be. It very well may be. I don't think Bobby Kennedy has the chops to take out Biden, but who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. There's supposed to be 5 or 6 Democrats running against Biden. They haven't mentioned their names yet or announced.
It's all well and good to say you're going to run against the sitting president of your own party. It's an entirely different thing to do it. You look at Bobby Kennedy Jr., he's got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
You look at everybody else whose name is mentioned, they have something to lose. They very much have something to lose.
I think with the Trump thing, though, I think people are just getting so sick of him. I honestly think he's just going to lose. It'll be close, but I think enough people are sick of him now.
Look, I don't disagree with you. My plan is to vote for the nominee of the party. That being said, we'll see what happens. But so far, the one I really like, I like Pompeo quite a bit. But I understand why Pompeo would look at the field right now and not run.
He might not vote either.
So it's going to be a very challenging field. I think the guy from New Hampshire, Sununu, he may run. But to take on Donald Trump, who looks like he's got a solid 35% of the electorate, Republican Party, behind him, I don't know who wants to take it on. When you look at the fact that Donald Trump is an older man, limited to 4 more years regardless.
Yeah.
Right? Do you really want to face him in the primary and have done to you?
I wouldn't want to.
No, I wouldn't want to either. I wouldn't want to either.
He'll go on and on and on and on. He knows what he's doing.
He's very successful.
He's not stupid. That's for sure.
He's not.
Thanks for the call. We got to take this break.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, my friend.
I was laughing, by the way, not at the caller, but because Tim made some new promotional material for the Pansy Brothers.
I love that.
And it was, so. You got the brand manager now. That's it.
all you need, really.
That's it now. So we're
next, it's a coffee mug, then a T-shirt, then a billboard. Pretty soon, I'm not going to be able to take public transportation. I'll be on the bus.
You're the Pansy brother.
Inside of a couple flower petals. There we are, our faces, our gorgeous faces. We're surrounded by pansy petals.
The new intro song is Tiptoe Through the Tulips.
Tiptoe. Oh, beautiful.
We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. I hope you guys are enjoying our new intro music.
The Pansy Brothers.
The the Pansy Brothers Flower Hour.
TM pending.
Yeah, TM pending. So brought to you by Charmin Ultra Soft.
Right.
So that was fun. So anyway,
we're here to be insulted.
Yeah, we're. It depends, but normally, yeah, we're here to be insulted.
If you can deliver with a spoonful of sugar.
Yeah.
The Pansy Brothers. We are pansies after all.
Yeah, we are. So if you want to call us the Pansy Brothers, it's fine.
But if you're going to call us anything else, make sure you soften it a little bit because we're pansies.
Yeah.
We can't take it.
Exactly.
Right? I mean,
no,
come on.
exactly.
Be sensitive to the fact that we're pansies.
So
we'll be joined by City Councilor Sean Oliver.
Yeah, he's going to join us momentarily soon. I think they had a meeting tonight, but they have a meeting tomorrow too, I think. So,
one thing about the City Council, they have meetings all the time.
There's a lot of meetings.
They do have a lot of meetings. It's one of the reasons why I think they're underpaid, quite frankly.
I remember actually scheduling an interview with, I think it was when we had Ian on last week. I was talking to him on Monday. He's like, well, we've got meetings every night, basically, right? Monday through Thursday, except for Friday. So it's a time-intensive job.
I would say this. If you do the City Council job correctly, you're vastly underpaid. If you don't, you're vastly overpaid.
Yeah, right. Yeah.